Excellent. So we're ready to get started. So James, ready?
Yes, ma'am. Floor is yours.
Good morning. Welcome to our small business webinar series with the Bexar County Small Business and Entrepreneurship Department. Today, we are featuring a dynamic leader, public servant, and a young man that is very much committed and dedicated to our community to improve the lives of all citizens throughout Bexar County and all the different services that are provided by the Tax Assessor-Collector's Office here at Bexar County. Mr. Uresti is a dynamic leader. When he first came into office, he has been our good partner with us to provide services to small business, whether they are local businesses, small minority women, veteran, disabled, or disadvantaged businesses that we serve through our office. Our team, James Massey, Brenda Rodriguez, Amparo Arriago, Stephen Prado, and Sonia Delgado, we are here in our small business office to provide you with support, and we try to bring relevant information to the community that will help you to grow, manage, or save your business throughout, not only in this time, the pandemic in America, but every day what we try to do to improve your business. Again, Mr. Uresti, we are very honored to have you join us this morning, providing this information. This webinar is not only being presented today, but it is also being recorded, and we will be sharing it on all of our social media sites, because we know that some of the business owners may not be able to join us right now, but they'll be able to look at it later. We thank you for your service, for the things that you do, for the drive-through center that we have on the south side, to the chairs in the waiting room when we get our vehicle registrations, to all the other services you provide here at Bexar County to the Bexar County citizens. So with that, let's get started. Mr. Uresti?
Well, thank you for that kind introduction, Renee. And I believed everything you said until you said young man. Then I said, okay, now I know she's not telling the complete truth. But anyway, with me, I have our staff, and we have our tax director, Carlos Gutierrez, and our motor vehicle director, David De Leon. And of course, I have my chief deputy, Lisa Anderson, and my aide is Felicia Carizales. And so we have other people here as well. And just want to thank everybody for joining us. I think you're going to learn some stuff today, and we're going to get moving. So it's going to be what's new at the tax office. And so we'll get going. So one of the things that we do here, we work our mission statements to help keep families in their homes with an emphasis on helping our senior citizens, our disabled, our veterans, and ultimately our children. This is something we take very, very seriously, and something we work at every single day. Our goal is to remain the #1 tax office in the state of Texas. It used to be the number one, but it's now, we've converted it now to remain the #1 tax office in the state of Texas. So as everybody in this entire world has been affected by COVID-19, we've tried to accommodate our citizens as much as possible. As you can tell, everybody's been shut down pretty much except our first responders. And so, and our medical staff, I don't want to forget our medical people, but here at the Tax Assessor-Collector's Office, we wanted to make sure we continued to provide service. Last year, we constructed a Southside drive-through, and I'm going to tell you, it's paid off dividends. We're seeing about 350 customers per day. So we've been able to continue to do that. We also have our commercial services office downtown, and they're open for our auto dealers, our full service title companies, and our beer and wine permits. Our tax office lobbies are scheduled to open Monday, May 18th. That may, fluctuate a little bit. I understand that today the governor said that Friday you can begin to get a haircut again. So that may change. We also, trying to keep our citizens safe and trying to keep our employees safe, we have installed shields now so that our citizens can feel more comfortable when they come into our office once we reopen. And you can see you may not be able to tell too well here, but we've installed the shields with a little speaker through holes there, and so the citizens can feel very safe when they come into the office. And it also protects our employees. So we think this is going to go a long ways. We've done every we'll be doing every single window in our office. So what does the tax assessor collector's office do? Well, we have 59 taxing jurisdictions. We have every taxing jurisdiction in Bexar County. Just property taxes alone, we collect over $4.4 billion, and we do over 2 million vehicle registrations and title transfers. So some of the things that we've accomplished, of course, we have faster, shorter lines. We have friendlier, more helpful service. We have, during lunch hour, we bring in extra people. And we've also extended our business hours on Wednesdays until 6:30 p.m. at all our locations. Even our drive-through, even during this time when we're seeing 350 people a day, we're still staying open until 6:30 on Wednesdays. So know that you can come by this evening until 6:30. No more standing in line. That's kind of our new deal there. We install seating, as Ms. Renee Watson mentioned, and that seating is going a long ways in helping our senior citizens and our disabled. But we also did it for that mother or father that came in here and had 1 or 2 or 3 kids with them. And so when they came in, you know, if they had to, you know, stand in line for 15 minutes or so, or 10 minutes, you know, it's a challenge. If you have 2 or 3 kids pulling on you, it's a challenge. And now they sit down, they get the little, I don't know, the little phone, they play games, and they'll sit there for hours. Of course, nobody ever waits for hours here, but you know, they do sit there and they'll play the game and just have a blast. We're also very concerned about our senior citizens and our disabled citizens. And so we modified some of our windows in order to accommodate them. One of the things too that I've learned as tax assessor collector is, you know, I like to go and sit in the lobby and watch our senior citizens and watch our disabled, watch all our citizens. How are they reacting? What are we doing? What can we do that's better for our citizens? And so as I watched our senior citizens and as I've gotten older myself, I started noticing that when I got up from a chair, I kind of pushed myself up a little bit, and I'm saying, well, that's different. And I started watching our seniors, and I saw where they were pushing themselves up. So we replaced all the chairs that are by the disabled window. We replaced them and put rails on the chairs with a little armrest, and so it's really helped them be able to lift themselves up. So we're, you know, those are little things that we do to try to help our citizens. Well, again, as we mentioned earlier, we have our first drive-through, and it's a 3-lane drive-through. It's state-of-the-art, and we built it for under $500,000. We stepped in, we helped with the design, and I can just tell you, it's been a godsend, especially during the coronavirus pandemic rather. We continue to outreach. This is one of the outreach programs that we do. We'll go anywhere. We ask people, as long as you have 10 to 15 people, we will show up. And I can tell you, I go to all of them. I think I've missed 1 or 2 in my 8 years that I've been in office. We enjoy doing it. And the other thing is, every time we go somewhere, we always find somebody that does not have all the exemptions. We believe every citizen should pay their fair share of property taxes, but under no condition should anybody overpay. So we continue to do our outreach, because it's just very rewarding when we find people that are overpaying on their property taxes. So we send out almost 700,000 tax statements every year. And one of the things that we found out when I first got here, I thought everyone had a mortgage account where you send in your payment, they take out your taxes, they take out your insurance and all that. But what we found here in Bexar County, that actually only about 1/3 of our accounts actually have mortgage accounts. And so we set up different plans in order to help those people so that they could try to manage their property taxes better. And so we developed some plans to help those people with them. But again, it was surprising when I found out that only about 1/3 of our accounts had mortgage accounts. So we've done things to help them set up, in essence, an escrow account. Annual payments are due every year on January 31st, kind of like income tax, which used to be April 15th. I believe now it's, what is it, June 15th? So it's about June 15th now, I think. So, but anyway, January 31st, same day, that's when your property taxes are due. Payment options. Okay, so we're going to get into some of the things now that can help our citizens. And this is our most popular payment plan right now is the half payment plan. This allows any taxpayer with business, whether you're a homeowner, it allows you to pay your half payment on November 30th and then pay your second half on June 30th. We have about 80,000 people that participate in this plan. And what it does is, opposed to having to pay the entire taxes on January 31st, you pay half on November 30th and then you pay half on June 30th. And we'll talk a little bit more about this in a second, but you know, it's a very popular plan. I would encourage that those of y'all that have a business that you consider doing this, and we'll discuss some other plans as well. I will tell you that not every county has this. There's I don't think Dallas County has it. I don't think Harris County has it. So, you know, we're probably the only big county that has this payment plan. Quarter payment option. Okay, even though this is business, we all know people that are senior citizens and are disabled. We all, you know, those of us that are lucky enough to have at least one or two of our parents, these are plans that are designed to help them. And some of the people on this line may be 65 and over or disabled as well. So by state law, you're entitled to pay your property taxes in 4 payments. And this is our quarter payment plan. And so it applies to those that are 65 and over, disabled, surviving spouse, of course, a veteran with disability. That's fairly new. Allows you to pay your payments January, March, May, and July. But we were not satisfied with this. And so we developed another plan. And it's actually the only one in the state of Texas. And that is our 10-month payment plan. Actually received several awards for this. We know for sure it's the only one in Texas, and we think it's the only one in the country. So what is a 10-month payment plan? It allows you to be able to pay your property taxes in 10 payments throughout the year. It's great. You know, there's a lot of senior citizens out there that are receiving $400, $500, $600 a month. You may not think they're out there, but trust me, they're out there, and some of them may even be on this webinar right now. So we wanted to make it easier where people could manage their money, could budget their money. And I'm gonna tell you, this has been a great success. We get senior citizens, and my staff will tell you it many times in the mall, senior citizens have come up to me in tears thanking us for this program. So we're very, very proud of it. Okay, this is our tax statement. And so in addition to doing the 10-month payment plan, we want to even take it a step further. So if you'll kind of gaze at the bottom part, we're going to show you that on the next slide. So that's the bottom part of the statement. So when you get your statement, if you're 65 and over, disabled or disabled veteran, you're going to get 4 options there. And you'll see the top one is 10-month payment plan. The second one's half payment. Third one's quarter payment. Of course, you can always pay it in full. And by the way, as I'm looking at this, let me see, somebody's paying $48 a year. Joe Garcia. Make sure we look this guy up when we finish, okay? Because I don't know who this person is. Anyway, so let's go back a slide. So when you get your payment, so if you're 65, you look at it, all you have to do is pick the payment plan you want to be on. You mail in a check, and that's all you have to do. You don't have to email us. We will automatically enroll you into this plan. We've developed our software where it works, and we wanted to make it simple because we knew that, number one, a lot of our senior citizens may not be, computer savvy, I guess, for lack of a better word. And depending on who you ask, here in Bexar County, 40 to 60% of our households do not have a computer at home. And that's really something that as we move forward, I hope that we'll continue to work on in order to bring more computers to our families. But again, all you do is you mail in a payment. You don't have to do anything else. And if you're not 65, you'll have 2 choices. You'll have the half payment, and of course the total amount. All you do is send in a check for whichever one you want. We will automatically enroll you, and we'll send you a notice 3 days before your account is debited, and so that way you have knowledge that this is going to happen. And we still wanted to make it even simpler. So on the next slide, you'll see where if you enroll in the 10-month payment plan, you're going to get some coupons. And we're going to send you the 9 coupons for the remainder of your payments. You'll have to send in the initial one. And then now we also send you the little mailing labels on there as well. We're not to the point where we're sending you stamps yet, but you know, someday we may get there. All right, so this is just real quick, one of the award we received from the Texas Association of Counties for our 10-month payment plan. On the next slide, we received a national award for the 10-month payment plan as well. And then we also received a national award for our outreach program. And this is something that, as you're seeing right now, something we're involved in and something we really enjoy doing. Okay, for businesses, this is real important here. If you are a business, the number one reason that businesses go out of business is because of taxes, whether it's income taxes, employee taxes, what have you. And property tax payments are one of them also. So we developed the prepayment plan. So with this prepayment plan, you can set it up for 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, whatever you want. Christmas comes around, hey, you know, you got to buy toys for the kids. Hey, you don't make a payment, no harm, no foul, it's your money. So basically what we're doing is setting you up an escrow account. So it's a great way for businesses to try to stay ahead of the curve, to be able to budget the money, put some money aside, and then in October, we're going to send you a bill for the remaining balance. Payment methods, of course, you can come in person while you can after the 18th. You can mail in, you can do online, you can call us by phone, and we're in actually transitioning over where we hope that you'll be able to, you know, do everything on the phone. As I always mentioned, you know, a lot of people go to HEB and they slide their phone across the scanner. I still haven't figured that out. You know, I tell people that my wife and I, we're the ones that write the check, and my wife's the one that takes out the coins out of her purse. But, you know, hey, it's all good. But we want to make it so our young people or millennials, not only young people, or whoever has a phone that can just scan it, we want to be there sometime very soon. One of the things also that we pride ourselves in is we have, to the best of our knowledge, we have the lowest credit card transaction fee in the state of Texas. We have the lowest debit card transaction fee of $1.50. We haven't found anybody that's less than $3.95 as far as tax assessors go. And then we also have free electronic check. And I will tell you that as a government agency, we cannot absorb the cost of the transactions. You go to HEB, it's $5. That's what you're going to pay on your credit card or on your debit card. Because we're government, we have to charge for the third-party vendor that does our credit cards. But again, we negotiated and we have very, very low fees compared to the rest of the state. Automatic deductions, we've taken this to a whole new level. Get the credit card, savings account, checking account, and never miss a payment deadline again. Phase 2 is where our goal is to, and we're getting really close now. We've actually had to step up because of COVID-19, but we want to be at the point where you can do everything at home. We're not there yet, but we're pretty close. And so, you know, we continue to work to the second phase of our technological advances. We've worked hard to reduce the property taxes paid by Bexar County citizens. And I'm going to tell you, we do work at this every single day. And, you know, as you'll see in some of the future slides, we don't set property values, we don't set tax rate, but there are ways we can save you money. And this is what we try to do. So how can we save you money? Well, the number one way we can do it is by making sure that our citizens have their exemptions. And these are mostly to do with residential exemptions, but I will tell you that it's very important. I can't tell you how many times you run across people that don't have their homestead exemption. People have been living in their homes for 20 years and they've never gotten it. So the couple of things with that is, number one, you're losing out on saving money every year. But the other thing is, as you know, a lot of property values have gone way up. And if you have a homestead exemption, you can limit it to a 10% increase, but right now, if you don't have the homestead, it's just going up and up and up. And a lot of you that have businesses that are not homesteads, obviously, you know the increases that are happening. If you're 65 and over, that's also a good exemption to have, because I think the city of San Antonio gives you a $65,000 tax exemption. If you're disabled, if you're a veteran with a disability. The other great thing about this is you get a tax freeze on your residential property. And so we'll talk about a tax freeze. What is a tax freeze? Well, what a tax freeze does, it puts the tax ceiling or limit on property taxes. So pretty much if you're paying $2,000 a year, when you get your tax freeze on your residential home, your property taxes are going to stay pretty much the same for the rest of your life. Now, keep in mind that they're going to fluctuate a little bit because the Alamo Community College District and the hospital district do not participate in the tax freeze, but your big ones do, which is the city of San Antonio. You have Alamo Community College District. You have the school districts. That's your big one. 54% of your property taxes go to school districts, and of course, the county as well. Deferrals. I show this slide because I tell our senior citizens that if you're having problems buying your food, if you're having problems buying your medicine, I tell them, don't pay your property taxes. Well, how can I say that? You know, I'm the tax assessor collector. Well, by state law, if you're 65 and over, if you're a disabled person or you're a disabled veteran, you can defer your property taxes. They don't go away. They're postponed. And whenever you sell your house or you, God forbid, you pass away, those taxes will be due to your heirs within 180 days. If they do not pay the property taxes that are owed, then what's going to happen is all those lower interest rates and penalties and everything that was deferred will now come back and go back into your amount of property taxes that are due. But as I mentioned earlier, we have people out there paying $400, $500, $600 a year. That are making $400 or $500 or $600 a year. If you can't buy your medicine and you can't buy your food, then don't pay your property tax. Get on a tax deferral, and it's just so important. And you can still pay your property taxes. That's real important, because a lot of people say, well, you know, I don't want to leave a lot of taxes owed to my children. You can still pay your property taxes, but if there's that month, that quarter that you can't make a tax statement, that's okay. You'll be, your taxes will be deferred. Interest rate is a lot lower. It's 5% as opposed to the normal 12%. So it's a great tool for our citizens as they get older. Okay, I show you this slide just to show you how quickly people can get into tax trouble. Again, as we mentioned earlier, property taxes are due on January 31st. If you miss that deadline on February 1st, this is going to be, you're going to get a 7% hit, which is 6% penalty and then 1% interest. Keep in mind that, you know, this is not the Albert Uresti rule. This is a state law that's required for us to levy on your balance that's due. And if you look at it, if you go through July, you're at, what is it, 41, 42%? So you're already going getting a 41 or 42% hit. That's a lot of money. And of course, the more property taxes you owe, the faster you can get into trouble. So it's important that you try to pay your property tax. Also in July, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, in July, the attorney fees attach on July 1st. That's a 20%, 15 to 20% additional fee that's added to your property taxes owed. All right, so if you look at this number one, I show this to tell you what each organization does. The appraisal district, which is separate from my office, sets your property values. The taxing entities, school districts, cities, counties, they set your tax rate. The tax attorney, those are the guys that collect your delinquent taxes. And the tax assessor collector, he's a nice guy. So if you can see that, he's a nice guy. That's all you got to remember about this tax assessor. All right, so we're going to pick on the appraisal district here a little bit. So when you think you live here and the appraisal district thinks you live here. So I know a lot of us has probably gone through this and a lot of us feel this way. Obviously, I know the appraisal district tries to do the best they can, but you may not agree with it. And there's going to be some challenges this year, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Property value increases. By law, the appraisal district has to send you a property value notice, property value increase notice, if your property values increase by $1,000 or more. The deadline to file a protest on your property is May 15th, which we're getting really close to. But my understanding, the appraisal district is somewhat behind. So if you see me looking off to the sides, because I'm looking at my staff to get their affirmation that I'm saying this correctly, but on May 15th or 30 days after receiving a value notice is when you have to file a protest. I will tell you that if you do not file your protest timely, it will take an act of Congress to get a hearing set up after that. So if you don't file it timely, or if you miss your appointment, it will be difficult to make that up. So I'm just going to go through this quickly. Some of the value protest basics, again, is May 15th, and you can mail in your proposal, and some of the places are not eligible to file a e-file or protest. There are two types of hearing. There's an informal hearing and there's a formal hearing. The informal hearing is where you go and you'll meet with one person from the staff. Many times you can work it out at that informal hearing. If you're not satisfied with that, or if you miss your informal hearing, you're still entitled to your formal hearing, and that's where you'll go before the ARB board, and then you'll get your hearing. I believe it's 3 people that sit on that on the board. There's several of them, and you'll have an opportunity to plead your case. Also, while I'm talking about this, when you fill out, if you do fill out the form, make sure you check where you'd like to have the all the information that the appraisal district has, so that you can review it, because by law you're entitled to review what they're going to use in that hearing. Personal rendition form, we have a lot of problems with businesses failing to do this. Normally the deadline for this is April 1st. It's been extended now to May 15th because of the COVID-19. I will tell you, a lot of people think that they only have to pay on property taxes on their buildings, on their real property. But as a business owner, you also have to file a personal property rendition form. And what this is, if you own a business and you, even if you don't own the building, if you have computers, if you have furniture, all of that has to be filed with the appraisal district. If you don't do it, they're going to do an estimate on what you own, and not only that, they're going to charge you a 10% penalty. The other thing is, obviously, we're here and we're speaking today because we want you to succeed in your business. But if for some reason you have to close your business, or you open another business and you ship that business to another one, you need to file that you are closing your business with the appraisal district. If you don't, taxes are going to continue to accumulate. We see it every day here. So just be aware of the fact that you have to file a rendition form, and normally it's April 1st, but this year you have until May 15th. All right, now we're going to get into our frequently asked questions. And I will tell you that, you know, this was I want to thank the Swinby for putting this together, and of course, you know, all the staff there and Renee Watson. So what they did is they compiled a list of questions, and we're going to open it up, and we're going to, actually, I'm going to run through these questions, and then what we'll do is, I believe we're going to have a open question up, and I think some of you all have been sending in questions as well on the chat room, and hopefully my staff is answering them right away here. Okay, are vehicle registrations due during the county stay home, work safe order? And I can tell you that's probably the most asked question. So right now, vehicle registrations are currently not required. Very, very important. A waiver was issued on March 16, 2020. The waiver allows Texans to avoid penalties. And the other thing is, once that ban is lifted, once that waiver is lifted, you're going to have 60 days to get the inspection sticker. I'm sorry, the registration sticker. I will tell you right now that there are still hundreds of people. Let me get this off. I don't know if you're able to see it or not, but I'm going to get that off for a second. So one of the things that, you know, we're having people we're having people in the drive-through in line, and we tell them you don't have to get a sticker, but they're still wanting to go in and get the registration. So part of the reason for that is that some law enforcement entities are still stopping people and you know, giving them warnings and what have you. I will tell you that that is not something that we anticipated happening. I will tell you that I have talked to, I have forwarded the information to Chief McManus, Sheriff Salazar, and also to DPS that runs South Texas. So they're doing a better job of getting the word out, but also, you know, people drive to West Texas and they're getting stopped and what have you. So I don't want to tell you that you won't get stopped, but as far as the legal requirement, you're not required to get an inspection sticker right now. I mean, a registration sticker. You'll have to get an inspection in order to get a registration. You have to do that 90 days before. So let's go on. Okay, what services does the tax office offer for vehicle registrations? Okay, right now, you can mail in your title transfers and registrations. We will take them at the drive-through window, but we are not processing them right there on site like we have in the past. We will process your registrations. They can also, we've always had drop boxes at our building, but now we've installed mailboxes like you see at the post office, so you can drop them off in there as well at any of our 4 locations. Another thing that we've encouraged people to do, we have a unique business model here where we have a partnership with full service title companies. If you want to do a title transfer right now, you can go to the full service title companies. There's 20 of them here in Bexar County that serve as sub-agents for us. There will be a fee. If you go in there for registration, it's going to be $9. If you do a title transfer, it'll be $20. But if you need a title transfer for whatever reason right now, or you just something that makes you more comfortable, you can go to a full service title company. You can find a list of those people on our website. So they're private companies, they charge, but again, if you need it right away, you know, that's the way to go. Okay, here's another question. What services does the tax office offer for property taxes during the coronavirus pandemic? Well, I'd like to be able to tell you that no property taxes ever again, but obviously that's not going to happen. But I will tell you that we have really worked hard to make it easier. Property tax payments can be paid online. They can be paid by phone, by mail. You can drop them off at any of our tax office drop boxes, or you can pay them in person at our Southside drive-through. Some people want a receipt right then, and so if you want a receipt right then and there, you are going to have to go to the drive-through. Now, I will tell you that you can also get a receipt on our website as well once you make the property taxes. Another question we're getting, this is the second most question we're getting asked right now, is, as I mentioned earlier, we have 80,000 of our people, of our accounts that are on the half payment plan. And we feel your pain. We really do. We know how much our citizens out there are suffering. We know that 150,000 of our, workers that worked in restaurants and bars and, in the service industry, that 150,000 of them were just fired in one. When I say fired, were laid off in one day. That's not counting all the other industries. I mean, even doctors are having a difficult time right now because they're not able to see patients. So we feel your pain. We really do. And we want to help. if you're in a situation where you're not able to make your property tax payments, give us a call. Go online. You can visit our website. You can call the phone number on the screen, and we'll set up a payment arrangement. Yes, we're going to require down payment. Yes, we're going to require a contract agreement. But I can tell you, and my staff is here in the room with me, and they will tell you that we have never, ever, I have never, ever once turned away a person or a business that was sincere and wanting to keep their home or wanting to keep their business. We will work with you. We can't just forget about the property taxes. We can say, hey, don't worry about it right now. We can't do that. But we will work with you. And my staff, you know, we have a very compassionate team. We've worked hard in my 8 years in service in order to try to develop, I guess, an attitude around here that, and they had it before I took over, but we've taken it to the next level. Our people are compassionate. They will treat you with respect, and they know what everybody's going through, because we all have family members that are being affected by this pandemic. And every one of my staff members has someone that's being affected by this pandemic. So again, I just want to tell you that we're here to help you. Again, we're going to require down payment. We're going to require a payment agreement, but we will work with you to the extent that we can legally. And of course, you can always visit our downtown office beginning May 18th. Okay, we have another question. Okay, if taxes are owed on my property, will I be charged interest for non-payment during lockdown? The short answer is yes. We have, by Texas law, and remember, our parameters have to be within Texas law. You are charged 1% interest per month until paid in full. There's nothing in the tax code that allows any provisions for the tax assessor collector to waive or reduce interest. Another question, if taxes are owed on my property, will I be charged penalties and fees for non-payment during the lockdown? Again, the tax assessor collector is required by law to levy penalties against past due taxes until paid in full. I will tell you, under certain circumstances, the attorney collection fees, if you remember on the other slide, I talked about it's up to 20%. That can be suspended in many cases for some of the accounts if you get into an installment payment agreement, to an IPA. You have to do that before June 30th of 2020. And so what that will do, if we're able to get you into an IPA, on July 1st, you will not be charged the extra 20%. And that's important for you to know. And now if you fall off the payment plan, then yes, it will be attached. But I strongly encourage you, even if you can't make your entire June 30th payment, if you're on the half payment plan, I strongly encourage you to get on this, on an IPA. And I'm looking over here because they're writing something on the board for me. And on the business personal property taxes, that's due on April 1st. And I'm sorry? Yeah, the collection fees are already attached on the business personal property taxes, but on the real property taxes, those are the ones where you can avoid the 20% if you're a homeowner, if you're a business owner. Okay, how soon after the lockdown is lifted will my taxes be due? The due dates for the accounts participating in 10-month payment plan, quarter payment plan, half payment plan have not changed. And you know, I kind of hate to be a bearer of bad news, but these are questions that are being asked, and we want to answer them honestly. It's not, these are not my rules. These are rules that are mandated by state law. Right now, the taxes that are going to be due on January 31st the taxes for the half payment plan, we've asked for that to be extended, but there's nothing that says they're going to be extended. So I do want you to know that none of the deadlines right now have been extended. Can my property be foreclosed upon during the COVID-19 pandemic for delinquent taxes? Can my property be auctioned for delinquent taxes? Normally, yes. However, I have arranged for tax foreclosures on delinquent properties to be suspended for April, May, and June. I worked with a Linebarger law firm and with the sheriff, and so I suspended those, and we may do them again. Right now, we do know that for April, May, and June, we are not having any foreclosure sales for delinquent property taxes. So it's something that we felt, I felt that we needed to do to protect our citizens. I know that there's also some eviction notice protections as well. I will tell you, some of you may be wondering, what about a foreclosure sale if I owe a mortgage company? Well, that's different from us, the lenders, but we did, and I worked with the sheriff on this as well, we prohibited them from having any foreclosure sales at the courthouse for April and May. Not sure about June yet, but we are going to be working on that as well. Okay, this is a little bit longer question. Is there any talk about Bexar County freezing residential taxes this year? So in other words, if you paid $5,000 last year, are you going to pay $5,000 in 2020? Well, in order to freeze taxes, the values and the tax rates would have to remain the same from last year to this year. We know the values are not going to be frozen. So unless the different taxing entities lower the tax rates, your property taxes have a chance of going up. I will tell you that the county and the city sent a joint effort, which I also spoke in favor of at Commissioner's Court. They sent it to the governor, asking him to suspend the requirement to reappraise the property value so that they would remain the same from last year. I also asked the appraisal district to roll over the 2019 property values to the 2020 tax rolls to reduce property values, or to reduce the property value. I also asked them to reduce property values. Those things are not going to happen. So what's going to happen is they're going to be sending out the value increase notices. They have to go by the January 1st appraisal. And remember, this was before COVID-19 was in full blast there. So the property values are probably going to go up about 7 to 8%. And I'm trying to read this bottom one. It's not, yeah. This is my favorite slide, my favorite part. The Bexar County Tax Assessor-Collector's Office does not set property values. We don't. I can't tell you how many times I'm asked that. We do not set property values. That is done by the appraisal district. I also will tell you we do not set tax rates. That's done by the different taxing entities. What we do is we collect property taxes. All right, what payment options are available to me for settling my past due balances? We are here to help, and I can't say that enough. Anyone with past due taxes is encouraged to contact our office to enter into an IPA. Again, it's going to require down payment. We are going to require monthly installments, but we have our staff on standby, ready to go, ready to help you. So just be aware of that, and that we want to help you with that. All right, will the lockdown impact tax year 2020 property values? Too early to tell. As I mentioned, they're not going to roll them over. The BCAT's going to set their property values as of January 1st. But what you'll be able to do is, if you're not sure, or if you don't feel that your appraisals are accurate, you can appeal them. So just keep in mind that you have until May 15th or 30 days after that. And so when you see your property values, obviously, we all know that property values have gone down in general. And so you're going to see an increase on your property value increase notice. So just keep in mind that you still have the opportunity to appeal those property values. So it's incumbent upon you as a property owner to make sure that you do that, and as a homeowner. And I will mention also that the fluctuations in property values will not be caught until next year when they do it again. So it'll take a year to catch up on the property values. Okay, what else will impact my property taxes besides property values? Another component that will impact your 2020 Act tax obligation is the tax rates by the governing body for each taxing jurisdiction. So keep in mind, as I mentioned earlier, there's two parts to your taxes. There's the property values, and then there's the tax rate. So if the property values go up, the taxing entities, if they can lower the property taxes to try to keep it the same, or they may raise them. So again, the tax rates that are adopted by the school districts, the city, what have you, they will affect your property taxes. Our tax bills for 2020 are going to go out same time as always on October 1st or soon thereafter. We're already working on that, and so we'll be ready. You'll be receiving your tax bill for the 2020 on time. Okay, this is our 4 locations. As you know, we have downtown, Southside, Northwest, and Northeast. We're getting close to the end of our presentation, and then I think we're going to open up for questions. I show you this slide. I always show this slide to people, and actually that's me sometimes posing like that during the daytime. But I will tell you, if you're facing difficult times, we want to help you. And I mean that in all sincerity, because we've all hit bumps in the road. I don't care where you're at in life today. We've all hit bumps in the road. We've all had difficult times. Life would not be worth living if we didn't have difficult times. I'm not saying that we want difficult times all the time, but we all have them, and we all have good times. And so if you're having difficult times right now, we want to try to help you. And if you contact us, we're gonna do what we can in order to try to make it, to try to help you see it, try to help you see yourself through this difficult time that we're in right now. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Ms. Renee Watson to see how we want to go from here.
Thank you so much for an excellent presentation. I think there's a few questions in the chat room. I notice your staff has been responding to. They may want to pull out a couple. I see maybe 2 that were asked by several people. Maybe y'all can comment on them.
Carlos, you want to?
We'll ask folks to wave their hand.
I will also note that Frenchie in the chat room has raised her hand with an active question.
Okay, and then if we can get those multiple questions, maybe your staff can pull those out, and then because it seemed like it was just a couple that was asked by numerous people.
Okay.
So James, you can do the hand raising first.
Okay, so Frenchie, welcome back. I know you were on our webinar yesterday as well. Let me unmute you, and you are live with us. How are you doing today, ma'am?
Thank you so much, James. I'm doing well. Thank you all for this information. The only question I have, if there is help available, will there be interest on that help?
So I'm going to let Carlos answer that question here.
Okay, perfect. Any unpaid business personal property taxes that are unpaid, that are past due, do have interest that does accrue or that does attach to the unpaid portion. There's no provision in the property tax code for the waiver, for the reduction, for the adjustment of that interest. We can go into a payment arrangement. Typically, we do require a down payment, monthly installments, but we could go that route. But there's nothing that governs the controller, Mr. Uresti. The governing bodies don't control the interest that attaches to unpaid property taxes. It's very unfortunate. I wish there was something that we could do. However, there's not, but we can do the payment arrangements.
And to follow up on that, one of the things that we did mention was that if you're 65 and over, and this really doesn't apply to businesses, but if you're on the 65 and over, if you're on a payment plan, quarter payment plan, or 10-month payment plan, we would encourage you to get on the deferral, because the deferral, should you miss payments, is only 5%. So that's really the only way that you can affect the interest rate.
Thank you.
We have another hand.
Any other questions out there for Mr. Uresti and staff? I don't see anything coming up just yet.
Okay, Carl, what were some of the common questions that we had?
Some of the common questions we have one. Okay, perfect. One of the questions that we did receive was from a Mr. Mahesh, and he's asking to please explain business property tax plans in detail. Now, if we're talking current 2020 taxes that are going to be released in October, the only payment plan that is available for business personal property taxes is the half payment plan. We talked about that earlier, where you pay half on or before November 30th, and the second half is extended all the way to June 30th. There's also a prepayment plan as well that will allow you to pay your taxes in advance. So once you pay your 2020 taxes in full, you can pay your 2021 taxes in advance. But going back to the half payment plan, half by November 30th, the other half by June 30th, we will send out a reminder for the second half, or you can chip away at the second half as soon as you'd like, meaning that you can pay that in recurring or in installments as well. We're talking past due taxes, or we do installment payment plans. So like we talked about earlier, you just need to contact our office by email, by phone call, and we will set you up to allow you to pay your past due taxes in affordable monthly payments.
Okay. David, do we have anything for you, David? I'm going to ask my motor vehicle director. I think we have some questions from him as well. And just to follow up on what Carlos Gutierrez said, is that one of the things on this prepayment plan, just to kind of get a little bit more specific, you set up the amount of payments that you want to do it for. If it's for 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, and again, you will pay that in the installments. But if you get a month where there's a downturn for whatever reason, or Christmas, or whatever the case may be, just keep in mind that at that point you can skip the payment. See, I'm getting handed a note here. Oh yeah, and there'll be a minimum of $25 to open up an account. But keep in mind that it's your money, and so you can skip a payment if you need to. I strongly encourage our businesses to get on a prepayment plan. It's really a great tool. So now I'm going to turn it over to our motor vehicle director, David DeLeon. David, do you want to comment on what they have?
Yes, sir. We did have one question come in from Mr. Stubblefield. And his question was, if you had a vehicle inspection before they stopped issuing a registration sticker, is the vehicle inspection still valid if it's greater than 90 days? And to answer that question is, if the inspection was done 90 days and you're using this waiver in place, then the inspection would have to be redone. It has to be 90 days prior to the safety inspection. So if it was due in March and you had it done 90 days from March, however, you didn't get your registration until, let's say, May or June when the waiver is lifted, then you'd have to have the vehicle re-inspected again.
And that's real important what David just said, because a lot of times we get people coming in and your inspection has to be within 90 days when you're going to get when you're going to get your registration. Just keep in mind that it is within 90 days. If it's been longer than 90 days, you will not be able to get your registration.
Correct. And this one is from a Justin Leggett. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I'm going to read this. It says the revenue stream needed to pay our business half tax in June was interrupted because of state and local executive orders severely. How can the expectations be that those taxes be paid in June without the regular revenue that supports those payments?
All right, I'm going to answer that, and we understand, like we mentioned earlier, we understand what's going on out there. We understand that the revenue streams have been cut back. That's kind of something outside the realm of the tax assessor collector's office. I would strongly encourage you to contact, the governor or different state officials to see if there is some kind of plan out there to extend the June 30th deadline. That's not something that we can do. Again, I sincerely feel the pain that's out there, but I would just encourage you to contact your state officials and do that. All right. So the other thing, let me talk about this for a second. Back to that other question, we the Attorney General, we had asked the appraisal district and different people, we thought because of the economic disaster that is currently occurring, that would affect property values and everything that's going on with businesses. But the Attorney General has said that it does not qualify to reduce any kind of property taxes, property values. So that is something that has been ruled on by them, and something, again, that we do not have any control over. They said it had to be physical, whether it's a tornado, a flood, or stuff like that. So just wanted to just wanted to comment on that if I could. Do we have any other questions?
Okay, we have one from a Victoria that reads, do all businesses pay personal property taxes? I am not a sole proprietor. My business is registered as a PLC. Now, all business, anything that is used to generate income, inventory, furniture, equipment does need to be rendered. All that equipment needs to be rendered to the appraisal district. That way they can set up or create an account so that business can be properly taxed for that.
If it's over $500.
If it's over $500, correct. So the answer is yes. You do pay property taxes on anything that is used to generate income. Do we have another one? This is from a Francisco. For homeowner, is there a time frame or by when can you apply for a homestead exemption?
So the homestead exemption, so the laws have changed a little bit on that. Just kind of, the question was, when can you apply for a homestead exemption? You can apply for a homestead exemption anytime. But the law has changed back where they can go back 2 years now. And in some cases, they can go back 3 years, depending on when you apply for the homestead exemption. I will tell you, and I'm glad you mentioned that question, Carlos, because one of the things that we're finding is there's a company out there, and I won't say their name, but there's a company out there. There's actually a couple of companies that are going out there to senior citizen homes. And I can tell you that it breaks my heart. Let me see, maybe I'm not even, am I good? Okay. It breaks my heart when we find homes, especially our senior citizens, that don't have the homestead exemption. So what's happening is they're going out to these people's homes and telling them, hey, we can get you some money back. Well, the thing is, they're getting money from these people for 4 years. They're getting half of their money for 4 years, and years in advance that they haven't even gotten their property taxes. I can do that for free. We can do that for free here and help you with your homestead exemption. So if you're approached by that, or if your parents are approached or your neighbors, just let them know that the homestead exemption can be done for free. Again, when can you apply? You can apply anytime. You can contact our office. We'll help you, but you can also apply with the appraisal district. So it's really important. And I believe, Carlos, are those homestead exemption forms online on ours?
They are. We have them on both places. They're online on our website under forms, and they're also available on the Bear Appraisal website.
So again, you can get those forms online off of our website, or you can get them off the Bear Appraisal District's website. But that homestead exemption, we've also talked, if you buy a new home, which is another thing. If you buy a new home, many times the mortgage company is not going to tell you that, by the way, you need to file for your homestead exemption, even though you just bought a new home. I will tell you that even happened with my own son when he bought his home. So keep in mind that that it's important that you get your homestead exemption. The other thing it limits the increase in your property taxes. So, but again, if you don't have your homestead exemption, contact us, contact the appraisal district. We can help you, and we can go back even 2 years. We've been doing that quite a bit, and we've actually going to be doing that even more. So we're trying to reach those people that do not have their homestead exemption. Remember, you must own your home and you must live in it in order to be able to qualify. Do we have any other questions, Carlos?
Mr. Uresti, we have Frenchie raising her hand for a second question if you have the time.
Okay. Go ahead.
Frenchie, you are unmuted.
Thank you once again. I have a specific question. I live in Comal County. I'm a 100% disabled veteran. However, I have property in Bexar County that is now, I have a tenant in there. Actually, it's my godparents. Is there another exemption, or is there something else that I need to do for that property that's in Bexar County?
I'm going to turn that over to Carlos in a minute, but let me tell you one thing. Let me touch on the 100% veteran disability that's service related, just for those out there that may know someone or maybe one that has this exemption. In Texas, people move to Texas because it's the greatest people in the world. I say that in all sincerity. But they also move here because if you're 100% disabled, you don't have to pay any property taxes, and so you can move here. To answer your question, there is a second part, but I'm going to turn it over to Carlos here because he's kind of the expert on this, and I know you can apply it to a second property. So Carlos, you want to jump in on that?
Okay. There's two separate exemptions. There's, I'll just give you, I'm going to read out the acronym. There's a DVHS, which is a Disabled Veterans Homestead Exemption. That's the one, if you're 100%, you can apply that exemption to your residential homestead and be 100% exempt from property taxation. There also is, there's a DV exemption, and it goes by a rating, or, and there's a 1, 2, 3, or 4, and depending on the rating that you have, you'll get that exemption as well. And now that exemption can be applied to any property that you own. You can apply that to a vacant lot, a rental property, a commercial property. The maximum exemption on that one, on a DV4, is $12,000. So you do get a reduction on the value that equals the amount of $12,000. So if you have $100,000, you'll be taxed on $88,000. And then it goes downward from there depending on the rating that you do have from the Disabled Veterans Administration. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And by the way, for those of you out there that may not live in Bexar County, we strongly encourage you to move to our county. It's a great place to live.
Yes, sir.
We have any other questions?
Mr. Uresti, we had a question from Anthony.
Grease. It says, what is the interest rate on the prepayment plan or the payment plan? I can hear this.
Oh, you can.
Okay, is that Mr. Grease? Is that Mr. Grease, the one that I know? I don't know. Go ahead.
On past due taxes, again, we talked about it earlier. It is mandated. Any past due taxes accrue interest at the rate of 1%. There's no provision to waive that or reduce that. You can go into payment arrangements to allow for affordable monthly payments. On the prepayment plan, there is no interest that's paid on a prepayment plan. So if you prepay $1,000 towards your taxes, we're going to roll out of the prepayment plan or the account into the actual tax. So what you put in is what we pull out. There is no interest paid on the prepayment plan.
And again, I just want to remind y'all that if you do have a tax deferral, that is the only way that you can affect your interest rate, where it drops to 5%. We have another question? All right, David.
On the same question from the gentleman, the question says, couldn't a question be asked to everyone asking for a motor vehicle registration if they have applied for homestead exemption?
I'm sorry, what was it?
It says, couldn't a question be asked to everyone asking for a motor or purchasing a motor vehicle registration if they already have applied for a homestead exemption?
Yeah, and that's a good question. I will tell you that what we have, and that's a good suggestion, and I thank you for that. I will tell you that what we do with our staff is we have them, when people come into the office and they're making a payment, what have you, we've trained them now where they look at their account and ask them, do you have your homestead exemption? I will tell you also, we send about 80,000 emails out and showing people how to make sure that they had it. Of course, the appraisal district wasn't very happy about that, but hey, it's all good, right? Because we send it out.
Yeah. And it's the homeowners that have an escrow that the bill goes to the mortgage company, that group needs to be very, they need to be looking at their account online on the
And
website.
that's a good point, because if you have a mortgage on your home or your business, you're not going to get a tax statement. So you don't know, there's really no way for you to know unless you request or if you go online. So just keep in mind that, you have to check and see if you have those exemptions. And again, we will be glad to send you information, but you can go on our website and you can check and you'll be able to tell if you do have it or not. I will mention one thing too on the disabled plates. David, do you want to touch real quick on the disabled plates? What our disabled veterans can do on that, and what our disabled persons can do?
Yes, if an individual comes in to purchase a disabled license plates, and it's just a regular disabled plate, what the individual has to do is basically come in, pick up a disabled application form, have it filled out by the physician, and attached with a prescription, and they bring it back to our office, and we would exchange the plate so the individual can take advantage of the privileges that's associated with the disabled license plate. Now, if it's a disabled veteran license plates, there is a plate that the disabled veteran can get depending on their service-connected disability. It's either 50% disability or 40% with lower extremity amputations. And basically what it is the form would have to be also disabled application would have to be filled out by the veteran. Also was the letter from the Veterans Administration, basically describing the percentage of the disability, and they would bring it to our office. And there is several sets so they could get. The first set would be $3. It would be attached for their first vehicle, and the other remaining disability plates would be at regular registration fee. Now, the thing is this: if an individual already has a regular license plates and they want to attach the $3 fee, we recommend that they wait until it's time for renewal, because disabled veteran will not get reimbursed for that first set that they already paid the regular registration fee. So we tell them also always wait until it's time for renewal. That way they'll take advantage of the fee that they already paid. $5.
So David, tell us real quick, because I know one of the things that we've been getting asked a lot is about the handicapped placards. I know under the governor's order, there is no requirement for them to renew it, but those, because it's been a while now, but those people that may have become disabled, the placard, I remember when my mom was still alive, she had a handicapped placard. She'd protect that thing with her life, because it was very important to a person that's disabled to have these placards, because a lot of these people that have these handicapped placards do not drive themselves. It's either, a neighbor, a son, a relative, what have you, that takes them around. So we do know that they're not required right now, but in a few words, if you can just tell us how a person can get one for their parent or a relative or a neighbor. Can you touch on that real quick?
Yes, Mr. Esther. It's basically the same steps. The family member can come in and pick up the disabled application on behalf of the disabled person, take it to the physician, have the physician fill it out, attach also a prescription basically stating that the person is disabled. They bring it into our office, and there's if it's a permanent disabled fee placard, there is no charge. It's good for 4 years. And like I said, that placard is not attached to the vehicle, it's attached to the person. It's issued to the person. So that individual can be taken in any vehicle as long as the disabled person is in the vehicle.
And I know you said they can come in and pick it up, but can they get it online as well?
Oh, yes. They can get it online. They contact our office. We can either mail it out to them or we can scan it to them and have computers and email address and scan it to them. Okay. And yes, sir.
So do we have any other questions? All right, Ms. Watson, I mean, we can continue, but as far as we have no more questions, but
we're very,
do you want to close now, or how do you want to handle this?
Yes, we'll leave the chat room open for another 5 or 10 minutes in case anybody has any follow-up questions. James is going to read out and invite some folks to the rest of it and give some more rules. But we really appreciate your time, your staff time, and then we'll be posting this on our social media sites so more people can take advantage of it. So we're really honored that you were able to spend some time with us in the business community this morning, and we appreciate your service to Bexar County.
And I want to thank you for having us. And I don't know how many people are still on with us, but you know, again, we're all in this together. And
Yes.
And you know, if we can help, we want to help you. If we can provide information, and I know, what is that? Oh, okay, great. And we still have 54 participants on it. That's a lot. So, but I do want our citizens to know and our people know that we are all in this together, and the Lord's going to see us through this.
That's right.
You know, the Lord's going to, you know, He's going to help us recover. You know, we're still the greatest nation in the world, and we will always be and we've been the greatest nation in the world for 100 years, and we will continue to be the greatest nation in the world. We will continue to be the greatest state in the country, and we will continue to be the greatest county in the state. So again, thank y'all so much. Renee, thank you for what y'all do, for everything you do. And I know you care so much about our businesses here in Bexar County, your staff. And I'm sorry, I don't even know his name, but it was really good. And he was running all around. My IT guy here was also running all around. My staff was great. So again, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. And we look forward to probably having an update for the community in probably about 60 to 90 days with you in case there's any changes, anything going forward as we approach to the fall. So the folks that are on the call, look out for those announcements on the Bexar County webpage. James, it's in your hands. Thank you.
So again, closing out here, just want to thank everybody for joining us today, especially to Mr. Uresti and his staff that all came together, huddled up, and every question that I saw raised in the chat room or live was addressed. If your question was not addressed, again, I know I said this a few times. If you've been on with us, you've probably heard this at least 5 times. But if you include your contact information somewhere in that chat room and then go ahead and leave your comment, question, or concern, somebody will be following up with you. As a reminder, we have 2 more webinars this week, both of which start at 10 a.m. I've noticed that a lot of you who've been joining have been with us since Monday, and I really appreciate it. We're trying to get as much information out to our community as we can. This is all part of our community outreach efforts. So again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here all week. And as much as you can, spread the word. Tomorrow, we're going to be joined by the Executive Director of the South Central Texas Regional Certification Agency, Mr. Charles Johnson, who's going to talk about SWMB certification, how to apply what's out there, how to best leverage it, and also touch on hub certification and the difference between a local versus a state hub certification. On Friday, big showing. We have a new purchasing agent in Bexar County. Her name is Patricia Torres. Very experienced. She's been with us a long time, but she just took the title of purchasing agent and has always been a close partner of ours here at Bexar County Small Business. So with that, we're going to host a webinar with Patricia focusing on Bexar County purchasing and how to go about finding contract opportunities in Bexar County purchasing, as well as how to register as a supplier with our agency. In addition to that, we're going to be hosting a CDMS session, which is our internal system with our department. What we do is we teach you how to leverage that system to go find additional contract opportunities outside of just Bexar County. And if you have a SWMB certification or a hub certification, which again, Charles Johnson will be on tomorrow, we'll show you how you can best leverage that certification using the CDMS system to go find those contract opportunities. So that's going to be tomorrow and on Friday, 2 more webinars. Tomorrow's will be with the RCA. Fridays will be with Bexar County Purchasing and myself. So thank you for everybody who joined us. Please leave your comments, your questions, and your concerns in the chat room, and we'll be following up. One more time, thank you to Renee. Thank you to Mr. Uresti and his staff. Thank you to everybody who's on this call.
All right, thank y'all, and we will be seeing y'all soon. Thank you.